What about factors that might protect against dilated cardiomyopathy? So one of the questions people with inherited heart disease often ask is, what should I be doing with exercise? Is exercise good or bad for my heart? And part of the reason why this is a huge conundrum in the inherited cardiomyopathy space is that there have been data out there that exercise might actually exacerbate disease progression with more wear and tear on the heart and may trigger cardiac arrhythmias. And this needs to be balanced against the health benefits of exercise for everybody. And so we really kind of need to know whether exercise is safe and beneficial for heart health or whether it's going to have adverse effects. And it's an important point to consider that the impact of exercise on the heart may differ in people who've got normal hearts compared to people who have a genetic factor that affects their heart function. So this may affect the impact of the mechanical stress of exercise and the likelihood of arrhythmias. Next slide. So this has been a very, very controversial area, and we wrote a recent review in Circulation Research on this topic, just looking at recommendations for exercise in inherited cardiomyopathies. And it's really difficult to make broad brushstroke statements because the effects of exercise are going to differ according to what type of cardiomyopathy you have, whether it's dilated, hypertrophic, or restrictive, or arrhythmogenic. They are likely to be affected by the type of gene change, and different genes may have different effects. It depends on whether you've already got disease or not, and how severe that disease is, and whether you've already had evidence of arrhythmias. There's a whole lot of other patient-specific factors, such as what your general health and what medications you might be on. And there's factors like the frequency, the duration of exercise, how hard you exercise, and the type of exercise, whether you're a walker, a runner, or a swimmer, etc. So there's a lot of variables. So what do we know about exercise and truncating titin variants? There's not really much out there yet. So in the last couple of years, this has been a topic of interest. And there was one study by Savanito et al. Where they did ask people to look at their exercise habits over a retrospective period of about 6 years. And they found that people who exercise for more than 4 hours per week did not appear to have worse LV function or arrhythmias. Then there was another small clinical trial which looked at an 8-week bicycle training program in 13 patients, but actually only 6 of them finished the protocol. And in this study where they looked at cardiac function before and after the exercise program, it did appear that exercise improved fitness and LV function. And then more recently, there was a study in UK Biobank, again, a historical study, which suggested that moderate to vigorous activity was associated with lowered risk. And then in our recent study, we did find this trend to a later DCM onset with people who had moderate to high exercise. Now, the problem with this whole area is that there's no standard definition. And as you can just see from this slide, people define vigorous activity in all sorts of different ways. So we really don't have a lot of data, and we are hoping in the future to sort of get some more formal information. And what we need is clinical trial-based evidence for exercise effects, not only for safety, but also for efficacy, and so that we can make some recommendations. Next slide. But at the end of the day, it's very unlikely that one-size-fits-all exercise programs are going to be useful. And it's very unlikely that we'll be able to pick up a medical magazine and see recommendations for people with titin truncations are. And where the field is going is to really look at individualized exercise prescriptions that take into account all sorts of things that we've mentioned before, the type of genotype, what sort of heart problem that you've got, are you a male or female, how old are you, what is practical for your lifestyle. And all of these factors need to be taken into account. And so the ideal situation is when each person can have an individualized exercise prescription. And hopefully that is something that we'll be working for and aiming for in the future.